Hello and good morning to you. So this is a very special sight for me because it is so rarely that we can ever see this volcano mountain El Teide. There it is. It's almost always hidden by cloud. But so that feels like a good omen. So I'm off on a walk because I have something that I want to discuss with you actually. So this is something that's been bothering me for some time. And I really was struggling to get a proper grasp about how I'm feeling. And I realise that what's been going on this year has just brought it to a head, but it's always been there. And I was looking for an example. Whoops, bit of a rough bit on the pavement. I was looking for an example for something that I could use to explain what it is that's bothering me. And finally I came across it. I imagined walking in the opposite direction, not up like I'm doing, but down. If I did that, eventually I would come across a point where the road opens up and there's two directions, left or right. And I imagined that there was a demonstration going on and people were very passionate and excited about it, and all the people were holding up signs and placards with the number 0 on it, and they were shouting, "We want 0, we want 0," over and over again. But then when I looked to the right, to the opposite direction, I could see there was another demonstration going on. And these people had signs and placards and bandanas and hats, and they all had the number 1 on. And they were shouting at the tops of their voices, "We want 1, we want 1." And at a certain point they see each other and they get even more agitated, even more passionate, even more angry, and as they finally reach each other, fights break out, people get injured, people get killed, and there's a bloodbath. Well, this is the image that I have to share with you today, because I feel this is exactly what's been going on all my life. It's nothing new. I think this is the thing that's really got to me. I remember being in primary school, and I remember having watched TV with my parents the night before, and when I was in primary school I heard children shouting, "We want Kennedy, we want Kennedy." And other children, including a girl I really liked, they were shouting, "We want Nixon, we want Nixon." So doesn't that just date things? Because of course this is before Kennedy became president in the 1960s. So that image helps me to realise how, in a way, nothing's changed, because we've always had divide and rule. Let's get people to get excited and passionate about something. Let's get them so passionate that they could only see their point of view, and let them feel determined to force others to their point of view. It is classic divide and rule, isn't it? As a part of the United Kingdom, and we had Protestants and Catholics demonstrating, rioting, fighting, killing each other. You got Christians v Muslims. The list goes on, and I can bring it right up to date with vegans and ketogenics. There seems to be this insatiable impulse to polarize, which the authorities have been using to control and enslave us in our minds. So this helped me to realise why I feel the way I do. Because actually I've been pretty upset with myself. Because throughout my life, apart from when I was a primary school kid and when I was a teenager, when I wanted the Labour Party to win the elections in the UK, that's probably the last time I got sucked into political polarisation. And then gradually my awakening process began, thanks to the influence of plants. But what I'm saying is, I really don't like the fact that for the first time I really have become polarised in one direction. So the mind control is finally working on me, and I find that very distressing indeed. Numerous attempts have been made in the last 10 years. I remember the round earth, flat earth. I remember listening to people talking about the flat earth. Then I remember listening to people talking about the round earth. And I remember it finally dawned on me. Round earth, flat earth. Speaking personally, it doesn't matter. I don't want to get drawn into what I see as another pointless divide and rule strategy that's being employed against us as some form of mind control. So I can look back and laugh at all that now, because actually what we've got going on is so much more severe. And I guess what makes this different is we've now got those in authority for the first time, maybe, I don't know, you tell me. They've decided which side. No, it's not the first time, is it? We've had migrants and asylum seekers, they've been demonised. We've had single parents, they've been demonised. We've had all sorts of people that have been demonised, actually. People with a particular skin colour, people with a particular religion. So this has been also part of their strategy forever, hasn't it? Giving myself a moment to think about that one. But it really is this masks or not masks. It sucked me right in. And it's partly because I used to have a job when I worked in the blood products laboratory, and I wore all these clothes, and the only part of me that you can see was my eyes. And then the same with all my co-workers, and we all found that dehumanising. And the reason was to stop the blood products from being contaminated by any microbes on our bodies. So I found myself on one side, and I really don't like it. I don't like the idea of myself being labelled as an anti-masker. I really don't like it, because it seems to me that finally the little mind control tricks have succeeded. And I also feel that this began with the social distancing. I knew in my heart how harmful it was. I remember going to see some friends who I hadn't seen for a long time, and they were in the "we're terrified of a virus" camp, and so they wanted me to stick to social distancing, which I did do immediately for their sake. And in fact, I can remember on a number of occasions them coming closer to me than the distance prescribed, which made me think, well, this is all a farce, isn't it? But it isn't until the mask becomes obligatory that I really feel my buttons have been pushed to this extent. And it was getting on the plane. The act of getting on the, well, actually entering the airport in Bristol, it brought so much up for me, because it was like forced to choose. Do I protest? Do I acquiesce? I don't want to do either. In fact, that's the thing I'm most passionate about. I've realised about the pro and the anti-mask things. I don't want to make a choice which is going to condemn me to one side or the other. Because as soon as I've done that, they've won. That's what they want. They want us all to be at each other's throats. It's a great way to augment the population reduction programme, which has been ongoing for a very long time. Please don't think it's new. Project Human Extinction, The Ultimate Conspiracy by Chris Thomas and his co-author. Almost certainly unobtainable now, that book. He laid it all out, how every time there were gun control laws enacted in a particular country or province, vast numbers of people died very shortly afterwards. Over and over again throughout the 20th century that happened. So that's nothing new, sadly. But yet the idea that I have to choose, and this is partly why I have developed this somewhat schizophrenic approach. So I go into Tegeste Market. Up until the second I reach the sign, the mask is off. As soon as I reach the sign, the mask goes on, and I feel what it's like to have the mask on, and I feel how my body is affected, and I'm aware that all these people who are wearing these things, how they're feeling too. And did you notice early on in this journey, there are two people in a van driving down towards me. They both have masks on. Yeah. So I feel a bit of a no-win on this one. I feel no satisfaction or joy from not wearing masks around other people who wear them. I feel uncomfortable at best and hypervigilant and in full post-traumatic stress disorder triggered mode at worst. And when I am wearing one, I can feel the results on my physiology, which is basically not good. So this morning when I made this film, I had the choice. Do I go downhill to Camino Largo, one of my favourite streets in La Laguna? And if I'd done that, I had to face that choice to mask, be muffled and not even properly heard on this microphone, or to not mask and be in PTSD, hypervigilant state. Didn't want to do either. So I exercised my third choice, which is to go somewhere where I'm not going to be bothered by anyone and no one's going to be bothered by me. And so I finally made it. So this is Mesa Mossa itself. This is the hill for which the family home is named. And we're now suddenly engulfed by these plants, by their soothing energies, and instantly I can feel what's happening to me. Just partly because instead of walking up quite a steep hill, I'm now on the level at the moment, but I instantly feel different, as I'm literally enveloped by the aura of the love of the plants. So thank you, plants, because to be honest, when I'm around a whole bunch of people, it's just not something I can do with enjoyment now because of the situation. I've been describing this polarization, this divide and rule, but out here there's no divide, there's no rule. It's connection. And one of the little blackberry plants just grabbed onto my trouser leg for a moment, and it's like, yeah, thank you, it is connection. It is that we are part of the natural world, and the natural world is part of us, and this makes everything feel better. But I do like to be with people, and I got a very special treat because when I get back to the UK, I don't know if I've actually made this quite clear, but due to circumstances which I'm not permitted to talk about in any way, shape or form, for fear of causing other people to become upset and angry, we are indeed leaving Tenerife on the 29th of August, and we'll find out what life is like in the UK now. through the only way that's really possible, which is to be there. I do thank social media like Facebook, which I normally don't make use of at all, for just giving me a little bit of a snapshot or two about what things are like there. I'm especially grateful for that because there's someone who is a friend of mine, and she with another friend is organising a ceremony which involves cacao and dance. And I haven't danced with a group of people since the beginning of January, when I managed to fit that into my life just before everything went mad. So that's a treat to have to look forward to, being with a group of people in a Mongolian yurt, no less, imbibing the spirit of the cacao plant, followed by some dancing, and that feels like a really good prescription for undoing a lot of the harm of all the isolation I've experienced this year. So looking forward to that, and of course ever since I arrived here in Tenerife, my life has been so much better, so much easier, because I'm actually with my partner, and that is such a wonderful thing, despite all that we've been through together since a few days into my arrival, which of course was not expected. So yeah, so I'm leaving this one with you really, because you could think of a million different polarizations which happen, but for me the thing is, it's the idea of this being mandated. The thing we're supposed to choose, we're forced to choose one of these two sides and be in alignment with the authorities. We're forced to become rebels, and I absolutely do not want to do either. That's where I'm at with it all. So I'm going to be very interested to hear how you're feeling, what you're thinking, how your thoughts and opinions have changed since this happened, and the extent to which, like me, you can see it as just a ramping up and a continuation for what's always been the agenda. This idea that there are beings that don't have our best interests at heart, and they want to provoke conflict, negativity, dissension, discord, violence, murder, mayhem, and all the rest of it. And I want to leave you the shamanic take, because I feel it's good to do so where possible, and here it is. The shamanic take is as follows: there are beings, and they are definitely not humans. They are beings that do not have our best interests at heart. But these beings succeed in possessing some humans. They take them over. They take over their consciousness. And these beings do everything they can to create and instill fear. That's their name of their game. They're fearmongers. They're the ultimate fearmongers. So this is what goes on. So you've got beings possessing some humans, creating fear, fear-mongering, and that's part of a very specific, deliberate ploy. And these beings feed upon the fear of humans. To them it's food. And I'm sure anyone who doesn't like the term conspiracy theorist could really go off on a rant about them and say, what a load of nonsense. So what I love is the fact that it's in the mainstream media. The mainstream media, we've got something called Monsters Inc. It's a animation designed for children. And in there you've got these beings that feed on the fear of children. And I do love how the media reflects, unintentionally or intentionally, I don't know, but reflects what's going on. So this is it. So I do this practice every day now, and it's a planetary cleansing one. I'll do it this morning after my Qigong. And I know other people that do this. People do meditations, group meditations. All these things are really great when people are acting from a place of love, because it's the one thing they can't cope with, they can't stand, they can't bear. And so I guess that's really my lesson for myself as I literally walk through the labyrinth of all this, is at all times, wherever possible, choose the kind option. Choose the option of kindness and choose love. So that's my conclusion. Let's all choose love together. All the love to you. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, activate notifications and all that stuff, what I normally forget to say. And if you do want to support my work, there's the PayPal email link in the description. Thank you. And please let me know your views about this subject and the experiences you think would be relevant to share with other people, because we're in this community together. Always good to hear from you. Thank you.